He's talking about it, really, including some involved in the Clinton Foundation and recovery efforts after the 2010 earthquake in Haiti. The Fox News political insiders are here, and you can join the conversation on Twitter at Julie Banderas and at FN Insiders. Ed Rollins, former principal White House advisor to President Reagan in both terms and a Fox News political analyst. Pat Caddell, a former pollster for President Jimmy Carter and Fox News contributor. And Doug Shoen, former pollster for President Bill Clinton and a Fox News contributor as well. All right. These are some serious allegations, Doug. I'm going to start with you. I mean, first of all, you know, these top criminal defense lawyers in Washington are saying that Hillary could conceivably face federal bribery and corruption charges. The Clinton camp says they are conspiracy theories. What say you?
Well, look, I've dealt with the Clinton Foundation, and the work I did was exclusively devoted to trying to both make peace in the world and fight AIDS in Ukraine. I've seen the allegations, particularly the ones about Uranium One and the sale of the entity, giving the Russians 20% of the American uranium market, are very, very disturbing and disconcerting. And my feeling is that they should be investigated, but at this point, I see no evidence that any sort of bribery was involved. I see no evidence of corruption or conspiracy. What I do see evidence of is a rollout of her campaign, and Ed will have something to say about this in a few minutes, that has not been particularly successful.
And that would be what, Pat?
Well, well, when you start a campaign and you spend all of it running around being attacked for what things you should have taken care of before you announced, you have problems. But you know what? She does have serious problems. And the charges coming out that this thing, it's a conspiracy, doesn't work. Remember, this book has no anonymous sources, by the way. And it is not written, it was not given to political reporters. It went to investigative reporters. And it shows a pattern that goes on and on and on, which is really disturbing, of fundraising, speeches from the president. And what we don't know yet, and which we will have to see, is connections to contracts. 67, there were 400 companies that were trying for State Department contracts. 67 of them gave money to the Clinton Foundation. How many got contracts, I don't know. The Haiti thing is a real disaster because the overlord was Clinton, and contracts from USAID, which is state, and then all of these people who, the people in Haiti said, Clinton approved all the contracts.
Okay, so first of all, underreported donations in the millions of dollars is number one. But that's not all. I mean, if we're talking,
but that's a big deal.
That is a huge deal. That is a huge deal. That the Clinton Foundation is now going to refile 990s. They're going to be refiling tax for 5 years. Now, making a mistake, a nonprofit organization, it's typical that you might have to refile once or twice or 3 times. 5 times, that's suspicious, is it not?
But Julie, they just announced that they admitted that they had taken unreported foreign contributions from foreign governments.
But is Hillary Clinton going to admit anything?
I don't know. First of all, there's been a long history of the Clintons always pressing the line or crossing the line on all fundraising, from selling the Lincoln bedroom to trips on Air Force One and all the rest of it. And so she is a new candidate. She is basically had probably the worst rollout I've seen in the 50 years I've been around American politics. The first 2 weeks she's been dealing with destroying emails. This issue, if you're going to run for president, and she's been waiting 8 years to run for president, you get your house in order. The Clinton Foundation has done a lot of extraordinary great things, and they should not lose sight of that. But at the same time, anytime you have an organization like this, there are people who want to take advantage of it, and people did take advantage of it. In her case, when she was going to be Secretary of State, she and the former president signed a document and an agreement that they would not take aid or anything or contributions that were in conflict, and they violated that totally. The tax issue is a very serious issue for any kind of organization that runs with contributions, and I think she really step out here and have full transparency.
Okay, the former Secretary of State already in hot water for the bribery, the paneling issues, and all of that, but then Iran. You know, in the relationship there, a top contributor, that company was actually funding Iran's projects, and we were in a no-sanction zone, and as Secretary of State, that's a huge no-no. Yeah. Her top contributor was dealing with Iran in the millions of dollars. How does she not know that's going on as Secretary of State, Doug?
Well, the answer is she didn't know. The answer is that there are sanctions, and it's not clear that those sanctions were violated. But at the very least, what Pat and Ed are saying, which is a more general, I think, important point, is there's got to be a full airing of all the contributions, where they went. And I would make a simple point here, Julie. The Clintons should say now, and I put a piece on foxnews.com to this point, no more foreign contributions, period, until the presidential race is fully resolved and rules can be developed. Pat, do you think that's right?
That's the least you could do.
What should be done then, Pat?
Well, let me just say, first of all, I want to say, whatever the good work they've done, only 15 cents on the dollar appears to be to charities. That's a huge amount of money being raised. The other problem with it is we have the problem with the servers, where the 30,000 emails are deleted, and we have, at the same time, we have all these questions going on. Not only her emails, but those of her two top aides. I love these arguments. Oh, she didn't know or do anything. Aberdeen, Miss Aberdeen and Miss Mills, who are chief of staff and the closest people, were running the State Department, basically. We don't know what's going on. You will only find out if you have a real investigation, which we must have because, and I want to say 40 years ago we had Watergate, and she worked on the impeachment committee. She knows what it is to destroy documents. And, you know, and as Richard Nixon said at the time, you know, the American people deserve to know whether or not their president is a crook.
What reason would you have to delete emails? And if you have government emails and you have personal emails, and some of that government information makes it into your personal, you're supposed to forward that personal email to your government email.
First of all, there are very clear guidelines. I've spent many years of my life in both White Houses and other government agencies, and there's a guidebook when you come into the agency and you open it up and it tells you what's government, and the preservation of documents is very, very important. It's very clear. And they decided to go outside because I think they have always been handicapped by, not integrity, but handicapped by a kind of scrutiny. And the argument that they always make is this is a right-wing conspiracy, this is the Republicans, this is all the rest of it. This is now going to be up to the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, Fox News, and other news networks to go follow these leads, and they will.
And to be fair here, the author of the book, Clinton Cash, went to the New York Times, went to several different media publications, liberal ones, if you will, and presented all of the evidence there.
Not to their politicians.
But to their investigative units. So full disclosure. Check us out. We're not trying to make up lies here. We're just reporting the facts, and even going as far as saying they're currently investigating Jeb Bush.
The deal that is of greatest concern is the Uranium One deal.
I want to talk about that after the break. We got to get into that because you read my mind, but we have to take a quick break, and then we have to get into that. Also, new polling on the trustworthiness of some of the nation's foremost politicians, the shifting numbers, plus what they could mean for 2016. The Fox News political insiders are coming right back, and we want to hear from you. What do you think? Which presidential hopeful do you think is most trustworthy and why? Tweet me at Julie Banderas and at FN Insiders, #FoxReport. We'll be right back.